Hi and welcome to my channel. In this video, I wanted to share the process of making this leafy pattern using Liquitex Acrylic Ink and what I learned along the way. So I recently got these inks and I've been experimenting with them quite a lot. This is one of my first experiments with these inks. I got these inks alongside some gouache and I had just experimented with gouache, as you may have noticed in my previous video. So my mindset was more towards working with opaque colors. That's because gouache is opaque and I was looking for that super flat opaque color. Actually, these inks, some of them are opaque and some of them are transparent. In this experiment, I was really set on going for opaque. And so I used the Cerulean Blue, which is opaque, and I also used this Naphthol Crimson, which is red and it is not opaque, but I mixed it with white, which is opaque. I didn't dilute the inks at all. I used them in the consistency that they're in the bottle, so as concentrated as they can go. I thought that they would be super opaque. The Cerulean Blue was pretty opaque. I guess I could have made it more opaque by adding a second layer or by using a lot more paint, using a thicker layer of paint in my first layer. You can't see the paper through the paint, but you can see that it's not perfectly a flat blue layer. And that's to be expected because when we hear opaque, we think perfectly 100% opaque, and that just in reality doesn't really exist. I think it's more of a spectrum, like maybe 80% opaque or something like that. Or if you want to get to 100% opaque, you're going to need to apply, let's say, 2 or 3 coats of the ink, and that I think is perfectly fine. These inks are fantastic. They're so versatile. You can do so much with them, as I've learned in the recent days. So even though I'm talking about some things I discovered about these inks, like they're not perfectly opaque in one layer, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's a characteristic of these inks and it's normal, it's to be expected. I just need to learn how to work with them in order to get the results I'm looking for. And maybe if I feel like I'm fighting against the inks, maybe I shouldn't be trying to get that perfect opaque. Maybe I should modify what I want to do according to what the inks can do or what the medium can do. So that's one of the things I love about working with real life paints and just getting to know their characteristics and seeing what they can do. When I applied the pink layer, I noticed that it was very hard for me to get that layer to be opaque over the blue. I think I applied 3 coats and you can still see the blue through the leaves. So it might have been wiser to mask out using masking fluid the area of the leaves and to paint those leaves over the white paper rather than over the blue. And if I really was set on having that super flat pink layer rather than that milky pink that you can sort of see the blue coming through. Maybe another thing I could have done was put some white leaves and then color over those white leaves with the pink. I don't know. But you know, at some point I think to myself, oh, that would be so much trouble that maybe I should switch up my tactic and just decide to do something else. Another thing is, now that I'm using a dip pen to draw some red lines on these leaves, I'm not really sure you can tell that the leaves aren't a super flat opaque pink. Maybe the pink is a little bit muddled because the blue is showing through. Maybe it could be more vibrant if the pink were super opaque. So these are just my thoughts as I'm experimenting with these leaves. And that's why I consider my paintings to be experimentation, because I'm learning as I'm doing. Even though I've painted leaves a lot of times, I'm learning from each experiment and I'm coming up with some new experiments that I'd like to try, and I try them out next time. So basically those are the lessons I learned from this experiment and from using this acrylic ink, which is super versatile. I really love it and I'd love to share some of the next things I made using this ink. I've also used it similar to the way you use watercolor by diluting it quite a lot, and it's pretty amazing. It can do a lot of things. So that sums up today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Let me know what you think about these inks, if you've tried them, if you've tried any other inks. These are Liquitex Acrylic Inks. Thank you for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you in the next one.